Welcome to a brand new episode of Too Far Talk. I'm Dom Delanucci.
And I'm Jersh.
And today we're going to continue the conversation that we started on last week about our interests in life, our favorite hobbies, and anything else that makes us who we are. I'm going to pass the torch over to Joshua and let him get started on his favorite hobbies and interest.
I can feel the fucking heat from this torch, and it burns in the brightest and most intense way possible. Thank you, Dom. Can't wait to start about my neckbeard adventures in Warhammer 40k. So, you know what? Let's fuck this pig, dude. Let's get started. Let's go stick our fingers into places that they don't belong in. Yeah? Oh?
Anyways, so Warhammer 40k, right?
Yeah, man. Warhammer 40k. Which stands for a war and a hammer, and 40,000 of them.
Okay.
Yeah, 40,000 fucking Warhammers flying at your face, bro.
I really thought it was about peaceful times with a screwdriver, but hey.
Wouldn't that be nice?
Hey. So what exactly is it? You kind of hear about it nowadays on TV. It's starting to get a little mainstream, but, just give us a quick history of it.
So, Warhammer 40k has been around for, ironically enough, almost 40 years. So they're getting close. They're getting close to that 40,000 mark. A couple more years, we're going to have to wait until we get to that point, and that should be interesting. It's a tabletop mini war game that basically you have like armies of little plastic miniatures. You put them on a fucking table. You could have a cityscape or swamp or, my mom's bedroom, whatever you're familiar with. You could do that, and you basically roll dice. You have to get little rulers out. There's a lot of math involved. Chinese kids love this game for the obvious reasons, because they get to take over things very, very, very rapidly and using math at the same time. They love it.
Oh, man. So is it kind of like a D&D?
So there's role-playing elements to it. You have a lot of people that have thicker neckbeards than me that definitely make a almost D&D style adventure from it, but it's more on a grander scale, because D&D you have a couple characters. You got a gnome with an 8-inch dick running around hitting people in the face. With this one, you have a space marine, but you have a squad of them. So it's kind of harder to get individual characters, but they do have that available for players, which is really cool. It's just a mixed bag, man. It's more of just the strategy aspect to it. Kind of like a baby version comparison would be you ever play Risk? That board game Risk? It's got little cannons, little cavalry guys.
Don't think so.
All right, we'll play Risk one day.
Okay.
We'll make a day out of it. I'll get my OJ. I'll get my celery sticks. Yay. We have pretzels.
Yay.
We'll tell our moms that we're gonna be doing homework. We're not gonna do any fucking homework.
Ma'am, can I get a Jersh?
Can I get a Jersh's, Mom?
I wanna play the game.
Did you do your homework?
Yeah.
Okay. Alrighty, I guess.
All right. So Warhammer 40k, it started off as a tabletop game.
Yep.
So you said it's been out for about 40 years.
Almost 40, yeah.
Well, here's the thing. You're not 40, so
I'm not.
When and how did you get into it?
So the way I got into it, weirdly enough, I was actually deployed to a combat zone, and I had a chief warrant officer while I was in the Marine Corps. I'm a mechanic. When I was in the military service, that's what I did. I worked on trucks, and he loved Warhammer in general. He was really big into it. He didn't bring any of his army shit over with him because he didn't want to break it. It's all plastic, And you're flying in a piece of shit C-130 to Afghanistan. You don't want to hear that crunch of $3,000 worth of plastic. So
Sounds expensive.
I'll get into that. Don't you worry. Don't you fucking worry, Mr. Moneybags. I'm going to be getting deep into that one. No, he was just really enthused about the aspect. It was like chess, basically, for him, but more intense chess with more math. And he got a bunch of us together whenever we had free time, and what he did was he made little cutouts and shit, or just paper representations, basically, of what units were, how many units were there, and he jerry-rigged this little homebrew version of 40k to get us interested. And he did bring a rule book with him, which was really cool, because we shared that shit around like it was like it was crack cocaine. It was like bringing a Game Boy in elementary school, and and you were the kid with the batteries. Like you got when you got access to that shit, you were like, hell yeah.
Hey.
Probably one of the few times I was very happy in the military reading something. So that was really cool.
Did a lot of reading?
Did a lot of reading, man. That's 90% of 40K is just reading.
Mm-hmm. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha. I thought you meant you did a lot of reading in the military in general.
I mean, it was the Marine Corps, so really the reading was limited. It was mostly signs that had pictures of people dying if you did the wrong thing, so you just kind of followed the pictures. And we did have a lot of pop-up books, which was really helpful.
That's good. Crayons?
I ate them. They were delicious. The blue ones were the best. They taste like blueberry and grape.
Alright, so this man, he's your, what does he do?
So he's basically the officer in charge. He was a Chief Warrant Officer in the Marine Corps, and he had been into 40K up until like the early 90s.
Okay.
And it came out in 87, I think. That was the first edition.
Okay, so like, how did he go about doing, like, was he open about it? Like, you know, it wasn't until here recently being like into board games and tabletops and figurines and stuff like that. It wasn't quote unquote cool.
Yeah.
So
you had better luck admitting that you fuck chickens than saying like, man, do I love Monopoly.
So how was that in the military compared to like the civilization world, the outside world?
The normal world.
The
it was a hell of a lot easier, honestly.
Was it just like, hey, we're bored, so I got this game that I've been into? Or was it just like, I'm going to play this game and I don't give a fuck who cares?
Yeah, because I don't know if any of our listeners ever been to Afghanistan, but I'll tell you what, man, it's not a great place. Sometimes you get lucky and you might be stationed somewhere where they have like generators, they have electricity and shit. You might even find an outlet. Like that would be really cool. But 9 times out of 10, you just don't have anything to do in your free time aside from reading books, working out, or playing board games, or making up games. And honestly, like, I played more board games in my life deployed into combat zones than as a normal person, as a kid. As a civilian out of the military, I still haven't played nearly half as many times I've played, you know, like Monopoly or Spades. I learned how to fucking play Spades in the Marine Corps.
Alright. Okay, so yeah, so how do you pull it out? Like, do you just go in there and like, hey, I got this game, or was it like, I'm playing this game and you walk over and you're like, hey, what you doing? Yeah,
it was mainly just like I wandered into the tent. I just got done with, I think I was on duty, so we were doing like security patrols around the base and shit because it was a small base and we didn't have enough grunts to pull security. So we would do like just patrols around the base and shit like that, looking for stupid stuff happening. And I got done with my shift and I was going in to fucking rest for a little bit or maybe get naked. I don't know, one or the other. And I saw him and he was dicking around with like all these paper cutouts. I asked him about it and he started explaining to me what it was and he asked me if I wanted to play with him. And I said I had no experience with it whatsoever. And he taught me how to play. And I think at the time he was doing like, I want to say it was like 5th edition rules or 6th edition. There's so many editions. I think they just came out with a 10th edition too to the board game. Or to the tabletop game, I'm sorry. If you tell a 40K player it's a board game, he's going to get very upset.
Got you. Alright, so I'm assuming you're just like, hey, what's this? And, you know, he kind of like showed you what it was. And what made you go like, oh, this is cool. I like this.
When he started to show me the rule book, because I'm a big artistic artist. So when I saw like all of this like grimdark heavy metal album cover shit, I was immediately interested because I love sci-fi shit. Fantasy stuff is cool. I know everyone loves Skyrim and shit, but dude, just give me some fucking like heavy metal background shit. I mean, you got like a chain sword. You didn't have a sword. You had a fucking chainsaw blade on the sword, and you would just cut up dudes and shit like that. You didn't have like a handgun. You had a bolt gun, and that shot like an explosive, like 99 caliber fucking mini rocket that would explode as soon as it penetrated something. Like everything was just jacked up to 11, and I loved that. And in the Marine Corps, that's basically what our life was. It was just take something and jack it up to 11. I didn't go piss. I shot urine out of my dick at speeds that would confound and confuse engineers for decades. All right, everything was just tuned and turned up.
Okay, so yeah, I got you. So it kind of felt like like what you're already doing, it kind of connected with you and who you were at the time.
Mm-hmm.
So you've been a fan of it since. Like, are there any other elements to it other than the tabletop game?
Yeah, yeah. The cool thing is, like, again, it's been around for decades now, so they branched out. They have their own, like, book publishing company called Black Library, and there's like 1,000 fucking books. I feel like I could fucking sneeze and they'll write another goddamn book about some fluff or some lore. And like I said, even like the rule books, even like they have these things called like codexes, not codexes. Codexes are a different thing that you do to deal with blood. So we'll talk about that too later. Another episode, folks. Anyway, codexes, these were just like supplemental books. Like, you know how D&D you have like supplemental adventure books?
Yeah, yeah.
These are kind of like, they add lore and fluff, but they also add like, hey, these are the kind of units you can have in your army. This is how you can paint them. These are like schemes and shit like that.
Huh.
And it really adds a lot to it. And they're fun to read. Like, again, I haven't had a lot of fun reading books when I was younger, but this really put a lot of love into just the amount of work put into making these things.
Okay, cool. And like, can you use these books? I've seen your collection of books. You have tons of books. Never read them. Never really looked at them.
You gotta fucking read them, man. You gotta read them, bro.
Do they like correlate with the game, or is it just like its own thing?
So the cool thing is, I've seen this happen before, where guys that will read some of the books will literally make a campaign surrounding the major battles in the books. But do it like a what if scenario. Like, hey, there was a tank battle that happened in this book. Let's replay it using these armies from these factions, but let's make our own campaign after what happens. Like, if you won instead of me winning in the book, you won. Let's do something else. Like, what would have happened after that? Would you have assaulted like a city? Would you have like raided like a village? Would you, would there have been a space battle or some shit? Would you have boarded my spaceship out in outer space or something?
Okay, nice.
Outer space, as opposed to where a spaceship would be, which would be
inner space.
Inner space, yeah. My inner space, my third eye.
Inner space 75.
Yeah. Fuck you.
So the only experience I ever really had with Warhammer is the figurines you have, and I don't know anything about it, but I remember it being some type of like demon, and I thought it was cool because I like scary stuff. I'm a little scary boy, but yeah, it was I was able to paint it and just kind of do what I wanted to. You kind of gave me like the free hand, the freedom to do it, and you didn't really judge me. You still have that figurine, I think.
I do.
And so yeah, can you explain who that little demon guy was and who I know there's factions in it, and I'm guessing factions are like classes and races when it comes to like D&D, for the most part. Maybe more like classes. Or and races, because if that's a demon and you got space marines, which are humans, so yeah, it's class and races.
Yeah.
So can you explain the factions before we jump more into like the figurines and more into the books?
So there's a lot of fucking factions in 40K. The big starter factions that a lot of people get into are like the Imperium of Man. So in the year 40,000, there's only fucking war. You got your golden god emperor who sits on his golden throne on Earth, which is called Terra. And he's basically dead but not dead. He got fucked up by one of his gene-sired sons called Horus during this event called the Horus Heresy, which happened 10,000 years before the current storyline. And he basically fucked up the whole empire, which was spanning almost the complete Milky Way galaxy.
Wow.
So you're talking about an empire that was just millions and millions of planets with a population of like the trillions. Trillions of fucking people. And the Imperium of Man, that has separate factions. So you have like the Imperial, I call it the Imperial Guard. They renamed it to something gay, like the Astra Militarum or some stupid shit. Nah, man, you're in the Guard, son. You gotta guard this place. The Imperial Guard, then you have, I call them the Space Navy. Let's make it simple. Space Navy, the Army. You had the Space Marines, which were these genetically engineered superhuman soldiers that were like, they're like 7 feet tall, 8 feet tall. They're like 600 pounds of muscle. Like, I'm pretty sure they don't have dicks. Games Workshop, the company that makes Warhammer 40K, I'm sure they probably mention like they do have penises. Don't worry, they just can't fuck. But
I mean, that's kind of is Game of Thrones.
Right now, you can go. Yeah, you can go on Reddit right now, and you will find message boards where they debate about whether or not they have dicks, and they will get very heated. Like it is ridiculous. But you have them. You have the Mechanicum. These guys basically, they're like tech priests. Like they believe that anything that's manufactured or made has a soul. Like your computer right now has a soul, and they call it the machine spirit. And whenever your computer lags or pet your screen. Whenever the computer lags or slows down,
come here, microphone.
Yeah, I love you, microphone. You're doing so good. And the little machine spirit would squeak or something like that. But anyway, these guys basically believe that everything that's manufactured has like a soul, and there's like a machine god, and that the emperor of mankind is actually like an avatar of the machine god, which is why they joined forces with the Imperium at the beginning of like the emperor's great crusade, where he tried to take control of the whole galaxy and make it a better place for mankind. And those are just a few of the factions in one faction.
That's a lot.
That's a lot. You have orcs. You know what an orc is, right?
Yeah.
So orcs in 40K are basically, they're space fungus.
Okay.
They're sentient space fungus.
That sounds about right.
Yeah. So, you get a mushroom, you give them an axe.
You know what? I want to create a game where orcs are actually good.
Well, they already did. It's called 40K, and the orcs are great.
Well, I mean, like, not powerful, because most orcs are powerful. It's just like most games and books and stories and movies, it's always the orcs who are ended up like nasty and fungus and
sentient fungus.
They're like just always these ugly, terrible beings. They're pretty much just the basic bad guys.
You know what you want? It sounds like you want Rule 34 orcs. That's what you want. They already have that. It's online. It's on the internet. They just don't have a game for it because it would get taken down probably pretty rapidly. Like, baby, turn off the lights. I'm playing the orc game.
Everybody likes fighting the orcs. It's always orc this, orc that. Won't nobody ask how the orcs are doing?
I love that. I love that. Yeah, like
Mr. Orc, are you bad? No.
No, I like to bake gingerbread.
I like gingerbread. I like making pies. I like cakes. I like
slaughtering the innocent. Normal orc things.
While he's sweating onto the pie.
He's got his like ugly ass fingernails getting into the crust of the pie.
I like to crochet.
I like that. I like the idea of an orc crocheting. But yeah, so 40K orcs, they speak, because again, this game, I should have mentioned this earlier. This game was made in the United Kingdom or Great Britain or England, whatever part of the world you decide to reference that fucking place as. That weird island where they talk funny.
That spot.
Yeah, that spot.
Our step-grandpa.
Sure. Our abusive stepfather.
Or, no, it wouldn't be step. It would be like the abusive father that left.
A bad uncle. The alcoholic uncle that taught you about like fucking Playboy magazine when none of the other adults were around and you felt really weird about it. That one.
Nah, I feel like that'd be more like
England.
That'd be more like Ireland because it's still related.
No, Ireland would have been more alcoholic, I would think.
Well, yeah.
Yeah. Ireland's the alcoholic uncle that shoved like M80s and frogs and taught you how to do it.
Listen, the GB.
Yeah, the GB.
The GB, they
Baby got that GB going hard.
They used to run a lot of places, so
they did. They almost ruled the world. Fucking losers.
I feel like we have to call them our grandpas.
Yeah.
So, anyways, our abusive grandpa.
Our abusive grandfather. So, because of that, everyone in 40K... I don't give a shit. We're going with it.
Yeah, let's go.
Everyone in 40K speaks with an English accent, And the orcs, they speak in, like, East London disgusting Cockney accents.
There it is.
So it's like, well, we's gonna go and bash some boys, them humies. Like, shit like that.
Hashtag justice for orcs.
Hashtag orc lives matter.
No.
No? Too far?
Nah. Let's go.
All right. No, hey, but for real, though, they do matter, man, to me.
They do.
We might need to cut this out.
I love my orcs.
I love my orcs, too. But no, so... The orcs, they speak with this disgusting accent, and I love them because basically anything that an orc does, they make shit out of scrap metal. They believe that their power of faith would shit all over every modern day Christian because they believe that if they paint their fucking vehicles red, or if they add flames to it, or like stripes and shit to it, it'll go faster. And you know what? It fucking does. They believe when they put together a gun that it'll shoot, and only off of their own faith and the fact that they think it'll shoot, does it shoot. If you were a human, you picked up an orc gun, there's a good chance that if you pulled the trigger that the orc just pulled and it worked, it'll explode in your fucking hand. Because you didn't believe that it was going to work in the first place.
Dang.
So there, yeah, you got your orcs, you got, I'll just breeze through some of these other factions. You got the Tau, which the Tau are basically just weeaboo, commie, fucking aliens that believe in the greater good. And when they were made, they were basically like, what's really cool right now? Oh, Gundam? Let's make a fucking faction that's Gundam and make them aliens and make them the good guys. In the grim, dark future, you have good guys? No. Everyone's fucking bad. The Empire's bad. They just throw millions of people into wave attacks, and they're just shit. Orcs are bad, because they're fucking orcs. Sorry, Dom, but they are orcs. The Tau were the good guys. Everyone shit on them. So now it's like, oh, they're good guys, but they're also, commies. Fuck it. Why not? You have the Tyranids. The Tyranids are basically just aliens that devour everything, and they use that genetic material to make more Tyranids. It's like a fucking wave of locusts that infect and eat everything on a planet and strip it down to it's a barren rock. And they just float through space and just fuck shit up. I love the Tyranids. And then you got the Eldari, or the Eldar. They're basically space elves. Some of these factions, they're fantasy kind of based. It's like, hey, we got orcs, we got space elves. At one point they had space dwarves, and I think they're bringing them back. Like halflings. Mm-hmm. They have halflings in 40k. They're called ratlings, and they're basically just these short assholes that steal shit all the time, and they cook, and they're fat. And they're really good snipers. That's their thing in 40k.
That makes sense.
If you want a good human sniper, you get a ratling, and he'll fuck shit up.
Hey.
He's so short. He just blends in. He's great. He's like a little pebble. You just throw him. What else here? We have the Space Marines, obviously. They're technically their own faction, even though they're part of the Imperium of Man. And then, of course, you have the Chaos Space Marines. And these are bad Space Marines that follow the Chaos powers, which you have like 4 dark gods that basically just fuck shit up in their own weird way. You have like Khorne. Khorne is a delicious food, but Khorne in 40k, not so delicious. Oh. This dude is basically the god of bloodshed. His big thing is like...
so it's like Ban.
Sure.
It's like K-O-R-N.
Yeah. But he's Khorne. They throw that. Remember, they're British, so you throw E's and R's out there like crazy, and then you don't pronounce them sometimes. Sometimes you do.
That's right.
What is it? Aluminum? No, it's aluminium.
Aluminium, yeah.
Aluminium, actually, you say, yes.
What a bottle?
Bottle of water? No, bottle of water. Anyway, but yeah, so you have like Khorne. He's a great example. He's basically like the chaos god of war. He's a chaos demon. What else? You have...
okay, so he's not actually corn.
No, okay. He's not an actual piece of corn.
Okay.
I would love if they just had a corn cob with like a battle axe and like demon wings, and he's just flying around on the battlefield fucking shit up. That would be great.
So he's not a big old lump of knobs. Gotcha. No juice.
No juice. Okay. Got the juice? No juice.
No juice.
But yeah, so... I feel like there's so many fucking factions. I'm pretty sure there's like over 15 different factions in 40k. And it's so hard to keep up with everything, and you're never going to have enough time to fucking explain everything on this. I'm sorry.
I mean, don't apologize to me. Apologize to the viewers.
My
listeners.
My two favorites are Space Marines and Orcs. I really like both of them.
Justice for the Orcs.
Justice for the Orcs.
Now, orcs really are really good in a lot of games, and
yeah, man,
I can understand the Space Marine things like the. I've seen pictures that you showed me. I think he tried to get me into it when we first started hanging out, and I was like, that is cool pictures. That is badass.
Every 40k fan tries to get every friend that they can fucking have, which for the average 40k fan is maybe like 1 or 2 friends, and they will try and get them interested in it too, so that way they're not alone on liking something. So. It's very frustrating.
Okay, so you like the orcs and the Space Marines.
Yeah,
okay,
I do.
Cool.
I do. Specifically Dark Angels.
So,
yeah.
That sounds neat.
They are neat. They're basically just space knights, like Templar knights,
That's
which they do have a Fuck, see what I'm saying? Like fucking 40k is like this because there's another faction of Space Marines called Black Templars, and they go on these like violent crusades. But Dark Angels, they're space knights.
Huh.
So they have like chivalry and all this other shit.
Oh, so they're proper.
Sure. They have all these dark secrets and yeah, they have a very, very dark past, and they're very edgy and brooding.
So they're spicy too.
They're kind of spicy. There's some spice. There's some spice there. I wouldn't say sriracha level, but you know.
So it's not like Starship Troopers.
No, nothing will ever be like Starship Troopers. No matter how much we want it to be, nothing ever will be like that again.
One, 2, or 3?
1.
Yeah.
Who the fuck? Dude, if you meet somebody that's like, I love Starship Troopers 2 and 3, fucking get them out of your... No, get them out of your life. Make them disappear. People, go out of your way. Make them no one will miss them.
Because, let's be honest, 1 wasn't even that great, but...
Whoa.
No, have you watched it as an adult?
Yes.
Okay.
I love it still. It's great.
I mean, just because I said it's not great doesn't mean I don't love it. Because I love ice cream, too, and it's not that great for you. And some ice cream is not that good. Let's be real. Some ice cream I feel like people just like just because it's ice cream.
Don't compare Starship Troopers to a fudge sickle that has freezer burn on it, alright? Don't you fucking do that to me.
No, but seriously, like, the quality of it's weird. Don't get me wrong, CGI is great, but the quality is... They feel like they're trying too hard to act.
That was the whole point.
I know.
It was supposed to be campy.
Oh, I'm not knocking on it.
Alright.
I'm just saying it's not the greatest when it comes to, like, production. And it may have been done on purpose, and that's what gives like the charm about it. But what I'm comparing it to is 2 and 3.
Yeah.
That was just overall bad.
Just bad.
Like you couldn't feel that sense of. I guess like you said, like you said, the production was meant to be like that, but it feels like 2 and 3 that they were trying too hard to make it like that. Whereas 1, it kind of felt natural, so it made you like it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So.
It felt like propaganda that also didn't have faith in itself, which I love.
And too, like, I never really paid much attention to 3, so I guess I'm a little biased here. But 2, what are they doing?
They're on a planet. There are bugs, and there are bugs that are crawling in their heads.
Like,
taking over.
Are they just telling a story about what happened, or is it more like
it feels like
propaganda?
It feels like a ghost story almost. That's what 2 kind of felt like. It felt like they were trying to make it into a fucking horror movie, and then they just lost path. They lost their way, and they didn't even. I want to be the director for that and see how he didn't know what the fuck he was gonna do with the rest of the goddamn movie. And you're just like, fuck it, we'll just.
They're on a base.
They're on a base now.
Bugs take over. Yeah, sounds about right. So then, I don't have an ending.
You know what? What I would love to do. I would love to do a commentary with you on that fucking movie.
1 or 2?
2. We're not doing. If we do 1, we'll be quiet most of the time because we'll be enjoying ourselves. If we do 2,
I don't know, man. I joke on it.
All right,
but I love it.
Hey, man, I'll joke with it too. It's not perfect, but it is fun to watch.
It's fun.
It is fun.
And maybe that's where 1 is different from 2 and 3 because 1 is fun to watch.
Yeah.
2 and 3, you just kind of like.
They're slogs.
What is going on?
2 and 3 feels like you're doing your taxes and then going straight into the DMV. That's what it fucking feels like.
It's like, ugh.
Yeah.
Anyway. 1 feels like you're doing your taxes, but you're getting that your money right afterwards.
I'm getting a refund, like a fat refund, dude.
You get a fat refund. You're like, I'm getting $3,000 this year.
Baby, we're going to Little Caesars after this one. Hell yeah, fat ass refund.
What? No, you can get you a soda. Don't you have to get the water?
Yeah, get the 2-liter too. No, not the one in the fridge though. No. Get the one outside on the rack, the warm one.
This one?
Yeah, that one. Where it looks like the seal's busted and some of the CO2 leaked out, so it's not as it's kind of flat.
Why does it feel fat?
Hell. Why does it feel fat?
Pressurized.
I'm holding my belly. Why does it feel fat?
I come over and get some of this good pizza.
Good.
Before it's gone, it takes 30 minutes for them to refill it. You ever been to Little Caesars and they just did not refill the pizzas?
Yeah, and you're just looking at the empty racks, and you're looking at the guy at the front. He's looking at you, and he's not moving.
And you're just like, what are we going to do here? I've already paid my $5.
Yeah. Hot and ready, huh? I think that's the worst part, though, man. I feel bad for Little Caesars when they're in that situation, because some assholes are going to be like, hot and ready, right? Like, motherfucker, no, not hot and ready. Just go. Go outside for 3 minutes, and we'll cook your goddamn pizza. Your $5 fucking pizza.
Hey, I love a Little Caesars. I think it's $6 now, isn't it?
Did they raise the price?
Inflation.
Yeah, fucking inflation.
Dollar Tree is like $1.25 now.
That's fine.
Yeah.
That's...
Oh, anyways.
Yeah. What were we doing? Where am I? Why do I taste copper?
Everything's salty. Starfish.
All right, go.
Alright, so yeah, get back on track here.
Yeah.
The factions, we talked about that some. Do you have a favorite book?
Yeah.
Times before you answer that, I just need to know real quick.
Yeah.
Are the books continuous, or is it just like here's a story here, here's a story here? It may not be in the same timeline. It might be 10 years apart.
So, to answer that question, yes and no. There's like single spin-off books that just focus on like a random chapter that you might like or something like that.
So is it kind of like the old Star Wars lore, which is now like Legends? Is like, there's the Thrawn series. There's 3 books in the series, but it's all in the same Star Wars, like in between New Hope and I guess The Force Awakens.
We don't talk about that here in this house.
But I guess canonically, that's where that timeline will be in the Thrawn series. But a lot of those books was about Luke Skywalker and what he went through, and a lot of those books are like, in the same timeline. But then sometimes they drop a book that's like, the Old Republic.
Yeah. Just some like random little lore fluff piece.
Okay, so it's like chronological, but also not. It really depends on the story and the characters.
There's 2 major series. You have the Warhammer 40k series, which can have like several series of books that are focusing around like a certain event happening, like Gaunt's Ghosts. That's like a faction of Imperial Guardsmen where basically you had these guys that are trying to go on like this crusade to take over planets taken over by Chaos forces, and while they're getting ready to leave, their commissar, like Colonel, the guy in charge of them, he lands on their fucking planet, and then they get invaded by Chaos forces that massacre and destroy the planet, and he's only able to leave with the unit of guys he was able to put together. So you have guys that come from a homeworld that doesn't exist anymore. So their family, friends, children, everything's gone. It's never coming back. And they call themselves Gaunt's Ghosts because the commissar's name's Gaunt, and they're basically ghosts. They have no future, really. They're part of this army that will gladly sacrifice. There's all this political intrigue and backstabbing. There's a series of books off that, and holy shit, they're decent. They're okay. That's the thing about Warhammer 40k books. You'll find one book that you really like, and you'll use that as a template, thinking all of them will be like that. That is not the fucking case. You will have. I've had plenty of times where I finished reading the book and I was like, "Wow, I'm never getting that time back." Holy shit! But to answer your question originally, my favorite 40k book is called Storm of Iron by Graham McNeil. It's a really good book. If you can find it, pick it up. It is a siege book where this fortress on this barren wasteland planet is being sieged by these Chaos Space Marines called the Iron Warriors, and they specialize in siege work. So they dig trenches and shit, and all of this, like, all these cool battles happen where you have like this fortress that has like a population of the army there is like in the tens of thousands. So versus like this legion of Chaos Space Marines and cultists and shit like that, and they have like, I think it's like over like 150,000, 200,000. Because that's the cool thing about 40k. It's not like a fantasy battle where it's like the Battle of Gondor and Lord of the Rings was like maybe 50,000 or 100,000. You're talking about millions of bodies getting thrown into one area on a planet. And then meanwhile, while that's happening, you have hundreds of these spaceships that are the size of like fucking skyscrapers or bigger. Some of these ships are like miles long, and they can throw shells that are the size of skyscrapers that are like 50 nukes going off. Because that's the cool thing about 40k, you get this stupid scale.
So it's like Tune to 11.
Yeah. Well, no, it's like an 8-year-old trying to fucking think what's big, and he just draws the biggest thing he could think of.
Yeah.
And he's like, planet big. And that's why I like it more than Star Wars in some ways.
Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah. But
I mean, it technically is a Star War.
It is. It's a war in the stars. It's like a Star Trek, if you will.
But it's Tune to 11. Like you said.
Turn to 11.
Tuned. Same thing.
But yeah, if you ever see that book or go on Amazon, fucking order it, man. It's a fun read. It's really, really fun. just to just sit back, read like a chapter or two.
Is there like an introductory book?
I would use that as my introductory book.
So there's not really like a set book to introduce you to.
There isn't like a book one fucking Widow Space Marine battles.
How it started and all that.
Yeah. They do have this other series. Thank you for reminding me.
I was about to ask about like a prequel.
They do have a prequel series. It's called The Horus Heresy. And there's like 60 books, I think, of the Horus Heresy. But there is a book one. So you can start and read it in chronological order. And it tells you all of these things that happened prior to 40K being what it is. So I like those books too. They're really cool to get like this idea on this background lore that you might not even be aware of when you're playing. Like, why the fuck am I playing against Chaos Space Marines? Like, what made them turn to Chaos? And then you find out why, which I'm not going to spoil that. I mean, if you want to, read the book or just go on the wiki that's out there, the 40K wiki. You know, you get some malicious software downloaded in the background while you're reading through a few articles. But yeah, go with that.
Nice, cool.
Yeah.
That's fun. So
That's nice.
So what about the figurines? Like, do you have like, do you collect them or you just like making them and kind of just being creative? Like, is there a collection to them? Like, you know, is any of them worth money or anything, or is it just fun?
So, for ones that are worth money, I would say probably like the first edition shit when they made them out of like lead. You know, they wanted to make sure that if you bought their product, you would also probably develop cancer later, which is always good. So they're worth money, sure. The thing about Games Workshop is that they will charge you an arm and a leg for pieces of plastic. And then, if you buy their products for painting them and their brushes for painting them, which you don't have to. There's all sorts of different brands that are cheaper, but for fuck's sake, man, you're talking about like a single color of paint that's like the size of a gumball, basically, and that's like $8. $8 for one color. You're talking about a paintbrush that's gonna last you maybe like a month or two if you paint regularly. That's like $12. Everything that they fucking sell, it is at a premium price, and it is hell. So when I started out, I didn't know this. I bought a starter set. It had like 75 miniatures to it or some crazy shit like that. It had a lot of figurines. I got to put them together. I didn't paint them. I was just fucking around with them. That's when I realized I made the mistake of like, wow, I don't know if I can play this game by myself or even with my girlfriend. She would probably look at it and like hiss like a cat. Just get it away. Fucking, she burns when she looks at it or something, which I can understand. So starting out, I just painted like a few figures, and I still have my first figurine that I painted completely. It's on my dresser, and I love it to this day, but I will not go further. I'm like, you know what? The game is cool. I love the idea of this game existing, but there's just so much shit to it, I don't want to fucking play it. I'd rather play the video games and read the books and the lore and shit. Like, I would love to make and construct a campaign for people to play off of. That would be cool. I'd love to do that. But goddamn, man, it is a time sink. It is a money sink. Like, I hope you're retired. I hope, whoever's listening, I hope you're retired. I hope you're getting that Social Security check. Hope you got your 401k, because you are going to fucking need it. Because goddamn, this shit is like plastic crack. Because it does get addicting. You'll start buying like one little set, and before you know it, you'll be like, fuck it, I want another squad. Or I want a tank. And like a tank will run you like $50 or some crazy shit. So, buyer beware. That's all I can say. Just get ready to get butt fucked by Games Workshop's pricing models. And I'm sure someone might comment like, well, you know, you can buy there's certain kits and Widow Get Started kits that you could do. And those are pretty good, pretty fucking sweet. Yeah, you could do that, dude. But the thing is, you want to buy characters. You want to buy one figurine character, they're charging $35 for it. Whereas like a squad of Marines might be like $55, right? But you get 10. So again, whatever you want to do, that's on you. I'm not going to judge you. If you spent $2,000 on an army of little plastic dudes that you only get to play with like once or twice a year, that was your investment, man. Me personally, I like the games, I like the books, I like the lore. And it's a little bit cheaper.
Nice. Yeah, that's what I am too. I like a lot of the lore stuff. That's one of my favorite things when it comes to like, it's pretty much like like D&D. Like I love the lore of it. I like going in there and making like my own campaign, and my campaigns are mostly about what's happened in the past and try to connect it to the now, and your magical items, around that. But with one of the things about D&D compared to Warhammer is that you can do a lot of custom things with D&D.
Yeah.
You can go like my first D&D character. I used a little action figure of Obi-Wan Kenobi.
Hell yeah.
And he had
hell yeah.
And he had a robe, and he put over his head.
Yeah.
And I was also I was a monk.
So that works.
Yeah. So, are you able to do that with Warhammer? Like, are you able to just do like some random figurine and make it your custom game, or is it more along the lines of you have to use Warhammer shits?
So yes and no. So the cool thing with 40K, because they're plastic figurines for the most part, some of the older ones are made out of like pewter and lead or metal, or whatever they use. Probably lead. Knowing England, probably. We go to kill as many of these bug people as we can, boys. Put more lead in those figures. My whole thing is you can do this thing called kit bashing, where it's like, I want my guy to have a chainsword and a plasma pistol, but the figure doesn't have that. He has like a bolt gun. So you could like cut off his arm, put the kit pieces on him, and now he has exactly what you want. You can customize like the head or the legs or things like that. So you can do that in a way. It's all a visual representation of the figure. So if you wanted to do something crazy like, I want him to have a 5-foot-long dildo sword that's on fire. Unfortunately, sorry to disappoint the listeners, that is not available yet. Soon, I guarantee it. Soon there will be. But what you could do is you can actually use this stuff that literally is called green stuff, and it's basically just stuff that people use to mold custom pieces. So I guess in theory, someone might be out there right now, and he's just making just the biggest schlong sword that has stupid stats to it, I'm sure.
So are figurines like mandatory for the game? What do you know?
So I've actually seen, like when I was deployed, my chief warrant officer, he did paper cutouts. He just did representations, which you can do.
Okay.
I've heard people using like a bottle of Coca-Cola, that's my tank. As long as you have like the book or the stat sheet, so you know exactly what your weapon strength is, your ballistic strength, whatever your stats you need to know. As long as you have that information, technically you don't need the figures. You need the rule book.
Yeah.
You need dice. You need something to represent the units. But really, I guess you could do that. The problem with that is that's fucking lame. I don't want a shoe. I don't want a Coca-Cola bottle. I want the cool tank with the fucking big treads and the skulls hanging off of it and the big cannon on it.
For sure. Heck yeah. Huh. So I guess having... You just kind of want something physical there to represent something.
Yeah, you want that physical representation.
But it's not necessarily like mandatory.
No.
As long as you have your sheet, like your attributes and your HP and all that stuff.
Exactly.
Okay, yeah, okay. I get it.
Because the thing is with imagination, I'm a grown man. I don't have imagination anymore. If I was like 8, hell yeah, dude, I'd be using like fucking action figures. I'd be using stupid stuff to represent it if I was playing at the time.
Yeah.
But now that I'm a big boy, I'm a 5'3" big man over here. Fucking obviously, I need to get some models. But again, big time sink, big money sink. So now I'm, I guess, playing the video games. I'm playing Space Marine. That's what I'm playing.
See, my thing is too. I hate to keep going back to D&D, but that's like the only.
It's a good comparison, though.
Yeah. And that's the only thing I've played compared to like any other tabletop games. Yeah. So I guess comparing it again, So I talked about my first figurine with D&D was Obi-Wan Kenobi.
Yeah.
Well, after about 10 hours of playing, I kind of just put the figurine to the side. And then the next night of playing, it's another 8 and 10 hour game. And that's not even exaggeration. That's sad. A sad truth.
Nah, man. 40K games can be the same fucking way. Like 4 or 5 hours.
It's wild. Yeah. But like second or third night, I didn't even use the figurine. I just kind of like imagined the setting, imagine my character, imagine everybody else's character, and I had my stats sheet, everything on it. So yeah, I guess it's kind of like that. You don't necessarily have to have physical representation of your stuff, but it makes it more fun.
Definitely.
Nice. So man, that's wild.
Is it?
Yeah.
Is it really wild, Dom?
Yeah, I'm trying to wrap my brain around it. Like, there's so much to it.
It really is. Doing an episode on a podcast to talk about 40K does not do it justice. There are plenty of other foreign people with weird accents that have been doing this for years and making podcasts and doing all this cool shit. And you can listen to them, man. You watch some of their videos. There's plenty of lore videos on YouTube. Fucking.
So it's like a steady stream. I was going to ask you, like, how do you keep up with all the new stuff?
You don't really like. So the thing with 40K, I feel like a lot of people are like stuck in certain eras when they got interested in it. Like me, I got interested in it when I was like early 20s. So this was back in like 2012-ish. My big peak interest was 2012 to 2016.
Okay.
So my era of interest is around that time frame. I still like some of the new shit they come out with, but I'm not like super in love with it.
Yeah.
It is what it is. It's like, okay, cool. They have these new Marines that are called Primaris Marines, where they're a little bit taller than the normal Space Marines and a little bit stronger, and they're taking over basically on Games Workshop being like, you guys want these Space Marines now. They're bigger. They're bigger, and they go smack harder. So, yeah, just pick your poison, though, man. I mean, find the thing that you like and stick with it, and if you want to branch out into different aspects of the 40K universe, go for it. Take your time with it. There's plenty to go around. There's plenty of lore on every faction and everything, to where you're always going to have something to learn about or get invested in or get interested in.
Just kind of something, a little bit for everyone.
Yeah, exactly.
So, like, with that being said, is there anything about it, like, about Warhammer in general, that's kind of, like, thought-provoking or controversial? Like, with Star Wars, because you're part of it.
I am. Fuck me.
There's a lot of controversy there about,
Sure.
Disney buying it. Kind of messing it up, quote unquote.
I'm still waiting for my Mickey Mouse Goofy Star Wars themed episode that I know for a fact Disney is just biding their time for that. Goofy's Darth fucking Sidious. They're like, good, silly Mickey. I was about to say silly Goofy. Silly Mickey, you gotta follow the dark side of the Force. You gotta do it.
Oh boy. So yeah, there's like a lot of controversy there, but also on the other hand of it, there's there's another side of Star Wars that people find kind of, I guess, thought provoking. Like I said, like one of the things of Star Wars is that it's never too late to be good again. Like, doesn't matter how much evil you've done in your life.
Cool.
You can always come back from it and do better.
The redemption arc.
The redemption, yeah. So is there anything thought provoking or controversial or anything with the Warhammer series or even the community?
Yeah. Well, number one, the community is what it is. Just like with any community, there's good parts of it and there's shit parts of it.
Yeah.
You have a lot of gatekeepers out there, some
gatekeepers,
serious neckbeards that are just like, excuse me, sir, but I couldn't help but notice that you failed to mention this key factor in 40K, and therefore you are not a true fan.
Yeah.
Therefore, I would even go as far to say is that you are a troglodyte and you are beneath me.
I'm already expecting a little backlash from what I said earlier about the Thrawn books.
Oh, yeah, I'm sure.
Because I messed up. I messed up the time series.
So many people are going to be upset.
Because I said between Last Hope and new Force Awakens.
Yeah.
And it's not that.
I'm already looking forward.
Return of the Jedi, Force Awakens.
Yeah.
I
like Awakens more.
Awakens.
But no, I'm ready for people to comment just saying like fake fan, filthy casual bastard.
Yeah.
But no, the thought provoking aspect. So you take like Star Wars is always a fun example, or even Star Trek, where it's like, oh yeah, we love these alien species and we're going to learn more about them and blah blah blah. Meanwhile, 40K, humanity is like super racist. Not against each other. If it makes you guys feel any better, 40K is very progressive in the fact that we're not racist against different colors of people or religions, because there's only one religion. So, worshipping the God Emperor of mankind, that's the religion. So there you go. Here's your little welcome packet of that. But there's none of that. As long as you're not mutated, you're pretty much safe. If you are mutated, then you're probably going to get killed. Sorry for that. If you guys have like the big head syndrome going on, or you got some Not even scoliosis. You could fix that in 40K. So whatever. You guys are good if you got the little swervy, curvy spines. But no, if you're an alien species, I am sorry if you're in the 40K universe because you're fucked. All right? They will find you and they will kill you. They will burn you with fire. It is bad. So the other thing is like the redemption arc. It's like Anakin, Annie, you will be the hero that we need, and you will redeem yourself in the end. 40K, if you wrong somebody once, not only are you fucked, everyone that's involved with you is also fucked. There's no redemptions. Not really. I think the closest you'll get to a redemption is someone dying still, but they die in a horrible way, but it's somewhat useful.
Yeah.
It's like he had a live grenade in his hand when he got swallowed by the alien that's like the size of a fucking bus. So it killed the alien and him. And then people are still like, well, good riddance, I'm glad he's gone. At least he did something useful before he fucking died. So there's a lot of that. It's grimdark. So the whole point of being grimdark is that there is no positives. If me and you were in the 40K universe, if we made it to the age we are now in life, we were doing something right. Because goddamn, making it to old age in 40K is really fucking hard. You don't see a lot of old people unless they're rich and powerful. Because again, grimdark, so they're obviously corrupt. They're doing some fucked up shit on the side. Mm-hmm. You know, they're harvesting brains or something crazy and keeping themselves looking youthful at the expense of others. So
has any of those ideas like been passed on to you, or even like you talked about the community earlier? So like taking both of those, like one of the things I have like is the tattoo of like the Sith Empire on my hand.
Yeah.
And
sick tattoo too, by the way.
Yeah, it's all right.
No, so it's okay.
But I use that to remember like darkness isn't always the way to go. You can look down. I was like, okay, I used to have a bad side. Yeah. Now I'm better. The whole redemption arc thing.
Yeah, but then you hear the Imperial March theme again, and you're like, fuck yes.
But the community has kind of made me not want to be a Star Wars fan, and
That's rough.
And it's not because of like they're wrong about their opinions. Like I get why.
It's good to have an opinion in the
it is
grand scheme of things.
I get why people are mad about the new the new trilogy and anything that Disney does. I get it. I understand. But at the same time, it's just a show. It's just a movie.
You done fucked up there, son. Let me tell you why you're wrong.
It's just stories. Like you don't have to die by them. So like, I'm tired of like going to a store, people seeing my tattoo, and the first thing they say is, "Oh, what do you think of the new trilogy?" I was like, "It's okay.
It's fine. It's not that great."
And then now I'm in a conversation about why
you're wrong.
Yeah, but why I'm wrong. And I just always end it with it would have been good as its own thing and not in the Skywalker saga. So yeah, it not being its own thing and hopping on the Skywalker saga really messed it up for everybody because they had to change a lot of things that was already canon before they went and retconned it.
Yeah.
So yeah, I kind of abide by the theme of Star Wars. The redemption. You can always do better, even if you've done bad. But I also don't like being part of the community. So
I love this.
So like, can you relate to that at all? Like loving one part about it,
yeah,
and also being affected by the community.
Yeah, of course, man, of course. Because like I said, like Star Wars has been around longer than 40K, but the communities, I feel like they're very similar in the fact that there's just so much contempt. You have so many hardliners that love certain aspects of it, and they don't like change, which I get that, man. If you change something and you make it shit, yeah, of course your fans aren't going to fucking like it, and they're going to voice their opposition towards it. And it's frustrating when you're dealing with a multi-billion-dollar fucking company like Disney, and Games Workshop's case like a multi-million-dollar company, but still, it's a corporation. It's you have like investors and shit. You could buy stock on Games Workshop right now if you wanted to. So you could be an investor for this fucking place.
Interesting.
But Dom's like, I see.
Grabbing my watch.
Now I own. You go to a Games Workshop store and tell them you own them. Like, I bought 5 shares. Technically, I own this goddamn place. But yeah, it's very frustrating. I think the important thing, going off of what you're saying, is to definitely just like what you like And if you find people that are interested in things like that, but they don't know about what you're into, yeah, let them know. Like, hey, man, I like this thing called 40K. It's pretty cool. And if they show interest, you can, like, expand on it. But just remember, they're going to form their own opinion about it, too. They might end up liking... Like, for me, if you like the Tau, I'd be like, fuck, you're my friend, though, dude. I thought you were cool. And like, I don't know, man. Something about these goddamn mech suits are pretty fucking sweet if you think about it. I'd be like, no, Tom. But, yeah, take what you like out of it. Fucking share it with people that you're cool with. If you want to engage the community, obviously you know that's a trap. Fucking keep your goddamn opinion to yourself, Dom. That's what I have to say.
Hey.
But no, have fun. That's the keynote out of any. This episode and the last episode should definitely have that key takeaway. If you like something, fucking like something. As long as you're not hurting anybody or anything, like don't be in a like pig fucking. I'm not gonna back you on that. I don't care if you say like, well, I'm not hurting anyone really. If you think about it, no, stop. This animal abuse is wrong. Don't do it. Looking at you, Dom. No, it's not Dom. Like, whoa, get the fuck out of here. No, but yeah, you guys just have fun. No, what the fuck was that? The closet door is like jiggling. Oh, Suey back there didn't like that last comment you said there, son. Yep.
Hey.
Well.
You better get my pig's name out your mouth.
You don't know our love.
Hey, so speaking of opinions, man, so what's your opinion on the new show coming out with Henry Cavill?
I don't know yet. So, and that's the weird thing too. Like I was just talking about the community. All the gatekeepers, for the most part, don't really like Cavill.
Wow.
I guess because he's a rich actor, and it's like they don't appreciate the fact that these people that have spent like years and all of their time devoted into 40K, and then you just get this like objectively handsome. I'm sorry, folks. Like Henry Cavill is a nice little piece of ass right there. And there's he's a little snacky poo. But the dude's like this rich guy. He's fucking plays Superman. You know, he's an actor. Yeah, at the end of the day. Very autistic. I love him for that. Like, you be as autistic and Asperger on the spectrum as you want, man. Whatever floats your boat, I'm cool with it. But they're just, they're gatekeepers. At the end of the day, you could be the most hardcore fan, but if you're already rich and powerful and you like something that they like, they're not going to fucking like that. They're going to call you a fake fan. They're going to call you a casual. And that's
the way it is with any fandom.
Yeah. So right now, the fandom's kind of split. Like, a lot of people, we want a good 40K show. Like, fuck, man, look at the Halo show. How fucking terrible that shit was, and how that split the fans even more. And I feel bad for someone that actually liked the fucking show. Mm-hmm. Especially if that's how they got introduced to Halo, was the Halo show. Like, fuck me, man.
Yeah.
So we want a good 40K show. I want a good 40K show. That would be awesome. I would love to see something like that. Is it gonna be good? It'll probably be, like, decent. There's probably gonna be, like, highlights and shit. For the most part, though, it's probably going to be, like, mid at best. And I'm going to have to live with that, because that's what being a 40K fan is. Sometimes you're just...
So that's the thing about being gatekeepers, man. It's like, no matter how big of a mark you are on something, it doesn't matter if you're handsome and got money.
Yeah. So, hey, kids out there listening to the podcast, just remember, you don't need to be talented or smart or anything like that. Just rich, handsome, and maybe having, like, family power. Like, if you were born a Kardashian, I got good news for you, dude. You're going to have a sweet-ass life. You're not going to like it when you become a teenager and you're on, like, Pornhub and you find a video that someone looks kind of similar to your mom, potentially.
Hey,
that's a rough ride. I'm sorry for that. But you know what? You gotta give and you gotta take sometimes. Sometimes you gotta bite that bullet. Mom?
You're not going to bed hungry like
that's not Dad. Is that Ray J?
Hey. No, it's just weird, man, because Henry Cavill has shown, like, his interest for quote-unquote nerdy things. Like, he put a whole video of him building a PC during quarantine. He's been The Witcher. He's Superman. And now he's going to Warhammer, and people just still like, nah.
Maybe it's because he plays Custodes armies. Maybe that's why. No one.
I don't know what it is.
Custodies are the guys that protect the God Emperor on Earth, and they're basically like Space Marine 1.5. They're like better space. They're like the Ferraris of Space Marines. They're very customizable. This Space Marine has carbon fiber, like as you can see in the back here, and he has LED lights.
You know what's crazy too? Henry Cavill got fired from The Witcher because Netflix wanted to like do its own thing and not stick to the games. And Henry Cavill was like, no, we gotta stick to the lore.
Which is funny because like people because you know The Witcher's based off a book series. Yeah. Well, there's so many people that are into the book series that hate the video games because it differs enough. I haven't read the book, so I can't even say like what it differs on. I just know where the hate lies.
I've only played the game.
I've only played the game too, man. It's a fun game.
It's a good game.
It's a really good game.
I had a God of War movie. That'd be cool.
God of War movie. Who would you have as Kratos?
Oh, man.
I swear to God, if you say Jason Momoa, I'm gonna fucking walk out on this podcast.
No.
Everyone fucking I meet says Jason Momoa, obviously.
As Kratos?
Yeah, it's Kratos.
No.
I know, right? That's why I'm like, why? Why the fuck? Because that's who they know that kind of like maybe would fit that build, but I don't know.
So who would I choose as Kratos? Man, I don't know because a piece of me wants to say like Triple H. You don't know
I want Tom Hanks.
Tom Hanks.
Yeah, I want Tom Hanks. His mushy ass.
The Triple H, like older Triple H. He looks like Kratos. He's big and bald and all that fun stuff. Here's a picture of him.
Yeah, here. I'm looking at a picture. Not nude, right?
No.
Yeah, that's not nude.
So, like, 2019 Triple H. But at the same time...
I can see that.
No, he only looks like him. I don't...
For that year. That ship has sailed, Dom.
So, I guess I would have to say something along the lines of, like... So to me, you have to fit certain aspects. You gotta fit the body. You gotta fit at least some of the face.
I need the voice. The voice is the big thing.
That's what I'm saying. But the voice is the most important. So I would say just give it to the voice actor.
Can you pull up a picture of the voice actor?
Yeah, I forget his name.
Jamie, pull up a picture of the voice actor real quick.
Jamie, can you pull it up real quick?
Jamie.
Yeah, hold on.
Hi, I'm Jamie. Like no, I really do need to see
Kratos.
Yeah.
Krakatoa.
Krakatoa.
I don't know. He's an old guy.
Let me see him. Yeah, I can see him being I can see him fucking... Yeah, he can make it work.
What's his name?
Yeah. Is that the guy
Christopher
from Stargate?
Judge.
Yeah, Christopher Judge. Fuck.
Say Stargate?
Yeah, was he in Stargate?
I have not watched Stargate in years.
I think I saw the first episode and I tuned out.
Well, my grandpa used to watch it on Sci-Fi Channel.
Yeah.
Back when it was SCIFI.
Instead of, what is it now? SYFY.
SYFY.
Sci-fi.
I try to explain that to a lot of people that there's two different sci-fi channels. Yeah, Stargate.
Yep, Stargate. Hey, Dom, do you want to know like a lifelong dream of mine?
What's that?
One day I want to make a shitty science fiction movie and have it air on Sci-Fi.
Let's do it. We got YouTube. Oh, on Sci-Fi?
Yeah, on Sci-Fi, yeah. No, I don't want it to be. I want it to just be on Sci-Fi. I want that under my just belt. I can die happy doing that.
I think you're about 25 years late on that because they don't really do B-class movies anymore.
Get the fuck out.
Nah, man. When they changed it to SYFY, they
God damn it.
They got rid of the whole B-level sci-fi movies.
I loved the B.
That was the best part.
They were fuck. Dude, you could get shithouse watching those movies and not miss anything. Dude, it was great.
My grandpa watched that shit religiously. And I'll just be sitting there in my little chair, my sippy cup. It's like, hey, look at that monster.
Now when you're sitting in your high chair with your sippy cup, fucking, you look so lost.
Yeah,
You're watching original movies and with your diaper on.
It's 4K and everything looks good, and you're just like, man, what happened to the cheesy
cheese?
Big
gap in video. Cheese. Dare we? No, you know what I really want to do though, and I would love if someone would comment on this if they made it this long in the podcast. Hey, God bless you on that. But what I would really love to do, I want to have a pajama night fucking commentary on a movie. Preferably a shitty one.
So let's do a Mystery Science Theater 3001.
And
that's us.
I'm sure they'll love that. Yeah, we won't get a fucking knock on the door from some lawyer that made it to fucking where we're at.
What would we call it?
who cares? Who gives a shit right now? Like, let's live with the idea of it and actually do it.
I mean,
Title.
honestly, we can just use YouTube's algorithm and be like, reaction to this movie, and it's not a reaction, just a commentary.
It's just a commentary. Just trick people.
Which would be fun. We can talk shit about it. Listen, guys, you heard it right here.
You know what I'd be mad at, though?
The next plans for one of the new contents on YouTube.
There you go. You know what I'd be mad at, though?
What's that?
People, if we did do that, and if it did for some reason track on the algorithm a little bit, and people were watching it and they're commenting and shit saying like, "This is no reaction video at all." Man, fuck you. There is a video on YouTube to this day of a dude narrating his open spread gaping asshole on YouTube, and it's considered educational, and you guys are cool. Well, you might not be cool with that. You know what? That's fair. You guys aren't cool with that. But still,
it's there.
I've read a lot of the comments, and a lot of people are like, yo, on the real, though, this is like a really helpful fucking tutorial video. Like, and it, you know what? I gotta back him up on that, because it was. I watched it, and I was like, you know what? I trust Dom. Let's do. Okay, Dom, don't look at me like that. Come on, man.
Nah, this asshole never gets shaved.
This asshole's gonna be like a 1982 asshole. This bushy and brave.
So yeah, I mean, so is there anything else that you want to add before we get off of here?
No, I don't. I think I've already said my spiel.
No advice or recommendations or.
No.
Hey,
no advice.
You heard it here. No advice.
No advice.
Figure it out.
On
your own.
Play the Space Marine video game if you can snag a copy. They're making a sequel. Play that. That would be a fun way of getting introduced to the idea of 40K. Or if you're into PC gaming, play some Dawn of War games. Those are really fun strategy games.
Nice.
There's plenty of other ones too, but I don't want to eat up the rest of these people. These good people's day. Hey, I couldn't help but notice that you're doing real good today. All you listeners out there, you're doing real good. How'd your job go today? Did you get that job? Did the interview go well? Are you making cookies, Adel?
Did you get a raise?
Did you get that raise? You know you deserve it. I think you deserve it. Me and Kathy over in accounting, we both think you deserve it personally. So, I think this is a good way to end the episode.
Yeah, man. So, there's your advice. There's your recommendations.
Yes.
And, follow us next time. We don't know what episode 3 is going to be about, but hey, you'll figure it out. But with that being said, y'all... I
won't figure it out. What are we doing?
So, y'all, stay breezy. This is Dom Delanucci.
And this is Jersh. Oh, man, I just had to stretch and crack my butthole.
There it is, y'all.
There it is.
Goodbye.
Bye-bye. Bye.